The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
We continue our conversation with the CEO of the Road Accident Fund, Collins Letsoalo. He, of course, is saying that reports around the state of the RAF being in a state of chaos or even a disarray, that those are falsehoods, and he's unperturbed by them, he says, because the findings of the Auditor General they speak for themselves, as he puts it, and are a true reflection of the state of the organization. One of the issues we've been talking about, the claims, and I referenced the different courts and the issues of the backlogs, which is really one of the issues that we've sort of been dealing with on this platform. We have many of our listeners that are talking about a system that is really inaccessible for them who are claimants, right? They struggle to get assistance when they're at RAF offices. They contact the call centers. They simply don't get any help. So the administrative processes that they are supposed to follow are processes where they simply end up becoming unsuccessful, and it leads to great frustration, at least for them.
Indeed. And we are not going to sit here and posture that the RAF is where it should be. But Cathy, the reality is this. The system of the Road Accident Fund itself, which is why we are very happy that the new bill is out there to try and resolve those issues, is that it's not easy to access the RAF, as whether you are as educated as you can be without a lawyer. And that's factual, right? So if you get injured today, Cathy, and you want to have a claim, you need an actuary to calculate your loss of earnings. You don't know how much it's going to be. You need an actuary. You can't even help your own mother because of the way the Act sits as we speak now. So there's a section there, Section 19C, of the Road Accident Fund Act, that says that if you do not use a lawyer, you must come directly. If you don't use a lawyer, the RAF should not honor that claim. That's a fact. It's there in Section 19C. It's very difficult for our people to navigate that process. So it results in probably more than 95% of the people that claim from the RAF using lawyers. And of course, when you use lawyers want to make money out of the scheme. So that's how it is.
But even those lawyers that are being used by clients are also the ones that are having difficulties. You see, so yes, you make a point about systemically, right? It's not an easy environment to navigate, but that doesn't take away from the fact that there's still administrative functions that individuals and staff in your office have to fulfill, and they're seemingly not doing that, at least not to a capacity and efficiency that would deal with the ordinary people that are coming in through their lawyers to submit claims. So if I call your call center and I don't get a response, that is not necessarily a problem of the system. That's a number of a call center that is dysfunctional, that's not working.
Which one is that, Cathy? We have just had a call center number, the new one, 087-820-1111. I think we started it in July. So phone it and then assess it. The people that have assessed it so far, it has shown massive improvements, in fact. So they may have been there in the past.
So it's just in the last 2 months that you've sought to correct that?
Cathy, I'm saying
to you... Because of the new number?
No.
It's a new number.
Yes. Yes.
So the last 2 months then?
Yes, I'm saying we are correcting what is wrong at the Road Accident Fund. One of the biggest issues that we had is claims handlers that were doing everything. They are supposed to be people that are doing call center matters. They will be called. They must capture staff. They must assess. They must do a lot of other things. So we have started to take a lot away from them to allow them to do what they're supposed to do, which is claims handling. So one of the interventions that we came up with is this new call center. People must call it and they must assess it on that basis.
Do you find that how you view your organization versus how people, the clients that would access your services, do you find that there's a disconnect between those two things?
Absolutely.
Doesn't that concern you?
It does. It does concern me. Because remember, if you have got a relationship with someone who's an go-in-between, which is a lawyer, who's not very happy about RAF for whatever reason, right? You are sitting on the other side. There's a claimant on the other side. This person is injured. They want assistance from RAF. They have got someone who sits in between who will simply say, even when the issues are theirs, that no, I wrote this thing, the RAF has not responded to me up to this far. And we have found that in most instances that's not correct. Let me give you a sense, Cathy, here. So when we arrived at the road accident fund, as I said, 300,000 backlog, what we had there was a situation where that backlog was created by a situation where claims that 97% of the claims that were in the system did not have all the requirements for us to make an offer. That's why we came up with the RAF Form 1, which now says we need this information for us to make an offer within 120 days. We still have got about 97% of still those claims not meeting the requirements, and that's what the lawyers are unhappy about.
Has it been easy for you to scapegoat the lawyers? And I'm not saying that there have not been unscrupulous lawyers that have absolutely taken advantage of the system. But it seems to me that wherever the opportunity arises, the RAF blames the lawyers. And they, of course, in many ways are the middleman. So they end up taking a lot of the heat for it. If we look at this memorandum that was issued earlier on this year, I believe, by a number of legal organizations, they in fact believe that part of the problem of the Road Accident Fund is you. And they detail, I'm sure you've seen the memo, it's been around for a couple of months now. You've seen sort of the list of concerns that they have around the administrative problems at the Road Accident Fund.
By lawyers. Let me read for
you.
Yes,
but just because they're written by the lawyers, it doesn't mean they shouldn't be taken seriously.
Remember, when you're outside and you say things, Cathy, I've got auditors that come and audit my work, right? I've got auditors that audit my work. So if I read the AG's thing, it says management has reported an achievement of 88.95% of claims validated and verified within 60 days against the target of 55%. Listen to this. The major contribution of this was through the introduction of RAF Form 1 on mandatory requirements for a valid claim. This ensures more credible data being maintained on valid claims and can be processed within 120 days, and also the ultimate liability in respect of the claims registered on the RAF system. That is the AG. It's not me. So if you don't believe me, believe the AG. Okay? So they come, they say what they are saying. I read that. Who must I believe? The AG was there. They've got auditors, they've got a methodology. I don't understand where the lawyers are coming from their methodology. Which methodology did they use? Because this is an audit methodology that arrived at this.
So what are you doing? You're ignoring their concerns.
I'm not. I'm assessing their concerns on the basis of the objective test. They are subjective. I'm saying someone who went objectively, looked at what we do, used audit standards, international as they were, and then came up with this conclusion. How do I then believe someone that is not in the RAF or has actually went and did this through a certain objective test?
Okay. I'm going to go to the phone lines. I've got quite a number of people that are dialing in to be part of this conversation. Jerry, you're in Kempton Park. Good morning, Jerry.
Morning, Cathy. Nice conversation with the CEO. And Cathy, I just have a statement, then I'll ask a question just quick. You know what, Cathy? The CEO there, I think is the laws at RAF. Whatever they're implementing there is absolutely horrendous. I'll give you an example. I know one guy from DR Congo, an asylum seeker. So he came into the country. 2 months after he had been to the country, he was in an accident. Okay, he fell off a truck. RAF paid him about 2.1 million. Okay, an asylum seeker, less than 2 months here. Now, I've heard from the COO, he said the biggest claim they've paid was to a Swiss national, 550 million. Now they have 2 pending claims from Belgian students, both worth 150 million. So that's 300 million. So RAF is busy implementing laws that I think they are counter South African. So I have 2 questions on this. Number one, what's the total amount paid to non-South Africans? That's number one. Number two, what's the total value? Because at this point, I've just given you about 800 million paid to only 3 non-South Africans, or at least the 2 are still pending. But to non-South Africans, 800 million. And people who've been here for less than 3 months. So that's a big problem, and we need to talk about it because we are here 365 days a year. We use petrol every single day, and we are paying for these people. So we need to talk about this. Thank you, Cathy.
All right, Jerry. Marumo, you're in Mafikeng. Good morning.
Morning, Sis Cathy, and good morning to CEO there. All I want to say to Mr. Letsoalo, I like his courage, and he puts facts on the table. I mean, even the Auditor General cleared him of doing that. I think most of the people there who's got a problem with how he's operating at RAF are mostly the lawyers and those other people who have been robbing this institution of money. And he mustn't surrender. He must put his foot down. This is the statement, and people should not take advantage of that. One other thing that I like about him is when he took a decision a few weeks back, that I just heard the previous caller complaining about non-South Africans who claimed a lot of money. I think it's also a problematic there at RAF to pay so much money to just few people when we've got so many people who made beneficiaries who made claims there, they have not been paid, and some of them they are paid. These lawyers who are fighting him now, Mr. Letsoalo, they are sitting with that money, not paying that money to the beneficiaries. Now, I think he must put his foot down and defend the vulnerable people. Now, the one I want to come up with is I want to ask him, because I have realized that when you make claim on your own at RAF, as compared to the person who goes through the lawyer, the lawyer's money comes in millions there when you get paid there. But when you make your claim directly there as an individual, it comes out less. And I think maybe it's because the lawyers know the tricks. I've seen several lawyers taking their clients to the doctors. I don't know how they do. Maybe the doctor's report is the one that makes the money to be more or something like that. Why, when you claim as an individual, your money comes far less? I mean, far less. Some people are getting 150,000. Some of them are getting 600,000. But with the lawyer, you can get up to 5 million rand. So it's really not. And when they took this initiative of people going direct, because before people were going to lawyers only, but after they said no, people can make claims themselves. I heard him talking about the Section 19C. I haven't read it. But why is the money less when you make your own claim? That's my question to the CEO.
All right, Marumo. Thanks for that question. Let me go to Ngwatu in Polokwane. Ngwatu, good morning.
Hi, Cathy. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. Go for it, Ngwatu.
Thank you. Look, actually, I want some clarity from Mr. Letsoalo on the issue of these medical people who are not paid for the services that they have rendered. I'm worried that Mr. Letsoalo is agreeing that these people, they rendered their service. And then when you ask him who is to be blamed for these people having rendered the service, we without the pre-authorization. He is blaming the lawyers and the service providers. But I think even someone from RAF, it's just that he's saying it before he came. Even some RAF officials have to be blamed for having taken the service which they did not pre-authorize. So in a way, what I'm saying is that the three of them, the lawyers, the service provider, the RAF officials, are supposed to be blamed for this service which was not being pre-authorized. Secondly, I think at the end of the day, RAF has benefited from this service. They gave them the service, and I don't hear Mr. Letsoalo saying he doesn't believe that they have given the service. Actually, he's confident that, yes, they have given them the service. And I think if he's a fair man, or if he's running things in a fair way or being reasonable, they have to come up with a way of at least compensating for what they have eaten. At the end of the day, they have eaten. They were given the service, and they benefited from that service. So there must be a way that they communicate within the three of them, the lawyers, the service provider, and RAF, on how to pay for what they have benefited. Because if it was something tangible, like if maybe they were given bricks, then the service provider will just come simply say, okay, then give us our bricks back. But now the problem is that this is a service that they've been provided, and they benefited from it. And I think there must be a reasonable way of communicating and saying, okay, but this we have benefited from it. Thank you for that.
All right, Mwatu, thanks for that. Let me do this. We've got a number of callers that are still on the line. I'm going to take a quick break. We'll give Mr. Letsoalo an opportunity to respond, and then we'll add some of the contributions from our other listeners.
The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.
We continue the conversation with the CEO of the Road Accident Fund, Collins Letsoalo. So you've heard the concerns raised by some of our listeners, Mr. Letsoalo. An opportunity for you to respond to them.
Look, I think we agree that this system is mainly meant for, at this point, is meant for everyone. And the biggest beneficiary, as you say, is someone who got paid 519 million, who the Swiss national. I don't think that was the intention when this system was put together. There are three Belgians who are now claiming 153 million each. And as I say, they are non-South African, and we are just saying that in aligning this with international best practice, everywhere where we go all over the world, we are asked that we must bring our own insurance. Foreigners in this country must do that, but that is part of the new bill that is coming. So people must actually comment on that. The issue around the millions that get paid to lawyers, it shouldn't be. But you see, some lawyers do exaggerate the claims. And when they exaggerate the claims, of course, we are going to find that it means that you have got a severe injury. And if you have got a severe injury, then the one that you have, of course, will pay you thinking you have got a severe injury. We have seen that. People will say, I will never work a day in my life. But when they come on their own, they usually say, we will work maybe in 5 years' time. When they are with lawyers, they will say, I'll never work a day in my life. Of course, the calculation is based on the fact that you'll never work a day in your life, and of course, we'll pay more. So those are the issues why the difference will be there. But generally, there must not be a difference. I insist that I'm going to keep to the SLA. There is an SLA that the medical practitioners know about. They know this thing of pre-authorization. It's not a new thing. They do it in medical aids. And they must tell you what happens in cases where they went and performed a procedure without a pre-authorization, whether medical aids do pay them or not. And in which case do they then say, well, we performed a service, or do they now say, no, we have not performed a service, or we performed a service, pay us, notwithstanding the fact that we do not follow what we must follow. I'm not going to do unauthorized or what we call irregular expenditure on the basis of the feelings I have for the people that perform the job when they have not followed the procedures. In the state, we have got laws. In South Africa, we have got laws. Let's follow those laws. Thanks.
Motlhatsi, you're in Pretoria. Good morning.
Yeah, quick one. I just interested in having a conversation with the CEO there. I think, as you're saying, it's been doing a good job, which some of us who've been following were very impressed with that. But interesting that something that, I've been looking at more time than maybe around the issues of RAF. It is that the noise on the issue of RAF is not from ordinary people. It's mostly from lawyers, and also we've got insurance. This companies like Discovery. And ordinary people don't have issues with this, but it's lawyers. I think RAF has been used as a cash cow. Now that because Mr. Always there is closing the tap, that's why there's anger. And the other important issue is that it's already adulated. You, for example, you have got foreigners will come to South Africa, whether legal or non-legal, and they're able to claim. And that does not happen international. And now, because government don't stop that, people are also they're crying. Yeah?
Oh, Mohlahlana, I'm so sorry. It looks like we've lost you on the line. Let me see how much time we have left. We still have quite a number of callers that are wanting to be part of this conversation. Do you want to quickly respond to what Mohlahlana had to say?
Well, there's nothing extraordinary, Mohlahlana. Cathy says that we might just be using scapegoating them. There might be a reason. I don't think we are scapegoating them. Ordinary people of South Africa have been taken for a ride by some of these lawyers, not all of them, I must emphasize. You can see the likes of Discovery want to claim for what they were supposed to pay in terms of the Medical Schemes Act. Everyone had their own feeding frenzy at RAF, and we are stopping that. And we don't expect to be liked, by the way, when we do this work. It's work of the state. It's work that needs to be done. We need a sustainable road accident fund.
What does the Auditor General have to say about the issue of the road accident fund's management of the fund's finances?
Management of the finances, they are happy with that. Why? Because they are very happy with the finance. There is a difference that we have with the road accident fund from one aspect only, which is our use of what is called IPSAS 42 vis-a-vis where they think that we must use IFRIS. We are in court on that, and that will be clarified. I think the case starts somewhere at the end of January, so we are fine with that. We don't have any issue with it, which is why I'm saying from a financial point of view, they had an issue with our financial statements so far as they sit, and we are using our new accounting policy, which we are sticking by because we insist that we are not an insurer. We have never been an insurer, and they are saying we must use insurance accounting. We are refusing to do that for obvious reasons, but those are things that are going to be discussed in court. But so far as other matters are concerned, they are very happy with what we're doing.
This is Collins Letsoalo. He's the CEO of the Road Accident Fund. We've got a number of callers that would still want to engage with you. I don't know whether your time allows you to stay longer or if you've got to go.
Unfortunately, I'm going to go.
Okay, well then.
The Talking Point with Cathy Mohlahlana. Weekdays, 9 a.m. till midday.